you ready?
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pokemon podcast thing that I don't know if we're going to have a name for it. We didn't name it yet. I don't know. This one's been recorded in April now, so yeah. How are you today, Mathis? You're not Mathis. God damn it!
I remember you did that the first podcast that I was ever on with you, the Dwarf discussion.
It was I know, and because it's just like because I introduce the podcast and I say how are you, hello Mathis is what I usually say, and then my brain's just like, God damn it.
Anyway, Nunmanji am fine.
For context, I just got done with a 4-hour Neuralities video stream that you can see the VOD of on What's channel, so I'm a little fried, I guess. That's my excuse. I wasn't fried for the door discussion, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway. You want to talk a little bit and then because introduce what we're talking about.
So we're talking about Dragon Quest, the first game, because it's basically the father of RPGs in general.
Console RPGs would be because like computer RPGs definitely existed, and Dragon Quest like synthesized and streamlined a lot of elements of those.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't say it was like that, but.
Yeah, but it's definitely, like, as I understand, because I did look at just the Wikipedia history of JRPGs page, and that's what I took from it, and yeah, because it did lay the groundwork for, basically, if you have played a JRPG on any console or handheld console, like, Dragon Quest is part of that lineage, right? So I feel like it would be a disservice to not discuss at least one Dragon Quest game for this podcast, even if, like, with Pokemon, it's pretty far away at the end of the day, but, like, it's still just so important that, like, and we will also be talking about Dragon Quest V, which has monster taming as a core mechanic. And though I'll also mention, because, so Nun took a little while to play the game, which,
Okay.
He's busy. I'm not, you got school, you got other stuff going on. I'm not gonna, but, like, I also, in the time that since we decided to play Dragon Quest 1, I have beaten Dragon Quest 1 and 2 and 3, so I might bring up examples from those in some ways, or I don't know exactly what, if anything, but
I
mostly
feel like
this is a Dragon Quest
since we're not going to talk about 2 or 3, so you might as well
right, like you're going to play 3 independently, or at least you started it because it's it's another important JRPG. It's one of the most like talked about and notable Dragon Quest games, but 5 is the only other one we're playing for this podcast specifically. As far as Dragon Quest games go, but so I guess to start off with like the Pokemon connection, so to speak, and just general any similarities, because there aren't a lot, like, because a lot of like, oh, you use items in battle, like there's no like,
because it's just like a very basic framework, so it's not like it's not really that interesting of things that Pokemon's taking from it, I guess.
Right, like the perspective is the top down character icons going around like a tile based map. It's like, yep, that sure is a JRPG thing. Right. I guess like one specific example that I did think of is, and this is I guess general like Mewthic soothes the Savage Beast kind of thing, because you have Snorlax versus the Golem, where you use a flute, and almost for inverse reasons, I guess, because with Pokemon, you wake up Snorlax with the flute so you can fight him and catch him and get him out of your way, but in Dragon Quest, you put the Golem to sleep so you could easily defeat him with the flute. So I guess
think that's cool in a sense, because
like, in general, I noticed with Dragon Quest, there's a recurrence of like musical instruments, like there's also the Silver Harp. So, and there's, in the Dragon Quest 2 and 3, there's an echoing flute, which you can use to find, like, so say if you're in a map, for example, like you're in a cave, and you're trying to find a certain like special collectible, which are orbs in Dragon Quest 3 and crests in Dragon Quest 2, you can play the echoing flute, and if it echoes back, that means one is there. So you need to search, basically. So just, music being a recurring thing in Dragon Quest, I guess, is something I noticed. And of course Pokemon, like I said, has a Poke Flute example at least. But you going to say something?
So
yeah, go ahead.
I guess pointing out the difference between those two things in an interesting way is like, Dragon Quest, you're supposed to be slaying the monsters and, you're saving the world and stuff. But in Pokemon, you're obviously supposed to be their friend. So in that instance, it's just waking them up, and you could chase them away, but you could also catch the Snorlax. So that's like, it's interesting because you don't have to take like an aggressive approach to it.
Yeah, they're very fundamentally different games. They're both adventures. They're both, action focused. Like, I guess one thing is that's a little interesting about Dragon Quest, or no, maybe I was thinking of something else, because like the interface is, you see the monster, and I guess when I think of some other JRPGs like Final Fantasy, where you see your party on the screen, and I guess Pokemon, you don't see your trainer on screen until the later games. I don't know. That's like so far of a thing. That's just like, I am playing Dragon Quest with Pokemon deliberately in mind, so I guess stuff like that is gonna crop up. I guess another thing that at least the early Dragon Quest games like to do is they like to revisit old areas. So like you're not gonna play Dragon Quest 2, but the world map of Dragon Quest 2 is literally like there is just a bigger continent around the continent from Dragon Quest 1, and you can, when you get the boat, it's like literally right there. Where if you sail like a little bit east of the port town where you get the boat, you find the continent from the first game, which is smaller, but it's still shaped very similarly, and there's, some similar landmarks and stuff, like even if some of them don't matter. Like you can go into the cave where you find... Yes, that's what I was referencing or thinking of, where how Pokemon, mostly in the early games, does sort of go back to the past, so to speak, and you see how things have changed across time, right? Which is just like, see, and that's like the most similarity I can think of is just very specific, like, or just happenstance, like tropes, tropes in general that, like, because, I'm sure, going back to the past or going to past areas is just going to be a thing you do. And like Metal Gear, the Metal Gear games will have a certain the one location of the base that you, I forget what it's called in Metal Gear Solid 1, you go back to a Metal Gear Solid 4 and you see what time it is, right? Like that's just, a thing that you're going to get. And, but it's just, this is just what I noticed between Dragon Quest 1 and Pokemon. So
I guess two other things that I noticed.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything
really much else. Like,
I don't know.
They draw from a lot of different things. Like Pokemon draws more from, zoology with animals and yokai and...
I guess I noticed that, like, how the games use, like, in caves, how if you light up the cave, it's not going to light up the whole thing. It only lights a specific area.
That is something that I don't remember in very many games except for Dragon Quest 1 and Pokemon.
And also Repel, like, in Dragon Quest, in the first Dragon Quest, it's limited to like I guess it's 100 steps like it is in Pokemon. I don't know, but like I guess how both are so limited, it's probably like why Pokemon was initially so limited until they made Super Repel and stuff.
Yeah, they did make it and then they also made it in later games where if your Repel runs out, you can just immediately use another one. Yeah, which makes it way less tedious for these old Dragon Quest games. They don't, like, because they haven't like they're relatively streamlined apparently regarding just RPG or RPGs at the time, but compared to nowadays, like it's pretty interesting in the ways it's different, I guess. But that is another example. Like, and it's just very small examples that just happen to feel familiar. And how the Repel even works is it's based on levels, or I guess, or strength. Like, you won't run into slimes while you run into stronger enemies still. Which just is just like how it works in Pokemon. But
that's probably all I can think of in terms, Repel, the
right,
caves.
Like Dragon Quest it's very nice to have. Like, I think it's also just important to have in general because like so many, like, it's such a landmark in Japanese pop culture that, like, to have even some context with Dragon Quest is super helpful. Like what MHA, just in a recent chapter, you have a Demon Lord, Demon King framing because a lot of Dragon Quest games kind of have this like twist at the end. So where we won't spoil it obviously, but there's usually not just one final boss, right? And or Gintama has Dragon Quest parodies. Isekai draw a lot from, like, why do that? A lot of them have like Demon Lords and Dark Lords and stuff because of Dragon Quest. And because there's always the big bad evil guy, and it's it's just helpful to have some kind of basis in Dragon Quest in general, which is part of why I've been interested in playing them, and so now I've played 3 of them, which is great. It's also kind of nice because I played Dragon Quest 1 and 2 on the Game Boy Color back when I was a kid, but I never beat either of them. So I finally got to like go back and slay the demon of my past, which was nice. But that about covers it for the Pokemon connection. So I say we get into just our general thoughts and possible spoilers. Sure.
It's not like a story. I mean, like
it's because it's very much kind of this very like typical RPG. Like there's literally a part where you go into a place to kill a dragon and save the princess. Like the staple fantasy trope. Like it's very much leaning on what you know for fantasy, but right, like. So, it knows what it is, and it's because it's just a simple RPG experience, and that's honestly kind of why I like it, because it is so, like, pure, and I don't think it would work if it were way longer than it is. And I know that's true, because I don't like Dragon Quest II, which is, like, basically the same game, but you have 3 party members, and yeah, you have more spells, you have just more mechanics in general to work with, you're fighting more enemies, but it's also, like, 5 times longer. And the added mechanics do not make up for the added length. So it just becomes a fucking slog by the time you get the boat.
So, is it like the same, but except, like a little more travel, the party members, and it's more enemies,
bigger,
I guess?
Right, it's bigger in like every way, but it's not that much bigger, if that makes sense. At least it's not big enough mechanically to make up for its length.
Okay.
Because, like, in comparison, I think Dragon Quest 3... it is longer than Dragon Quest 2, but I just had a much better time with Dragon Quest 3 because there's just a little bit more story in ways that I actually like had an emotion at a moment, and I was like, wait, that happened? Like, it didn't make me cry remotely, but it was like the fact that I had an emotion to a story thing in a Dragon Quest game was new to me, right? So Dragon Quest 1 I like because it's like I think I beat it in 2 sittings. Did I look stuff up? Yes, because I thought about it, I've been thinking about it, because like the thing with Dragon Quest is it's actually like it's designed in a way that it wants you to explore. Mm-hmm. You like, I feel like if you just walk around and fight enemies and talk to everyone, and because sometimes you're going to be stumbling around not knowing exactly where to go. And but when I was a kid, my mom bought a lot of strategy guides, so I got into this habit of, like, if I'm stuck in a game, I look things up, and I still have that habit to this day, and I didn't really recognize it until Dragon Quest, where I give up way too easily, and I just look stuff up, and I should stop that, but I did play through, like, 3 Dragon Quest games. Okay, I didn't start realizing until, like, Dragon Quest 3.
See, you kept, like... saying how I'm beating these so fast and you're taking so long, but it's like at first I didn't ask you anything, and I also wasn't looking anything up, so like I was playing the game basically how they wanted to, because I remember White said how they want you to get lost, and I was lost at some parts, and like I didn't really think about talking to everyone necessarily at first, so that's why it like took me so long. Like it wasn't a 6-hour game for me. Like, and I'm pretty sure when I looked up how long to beat, it had, like, the average was, like, 8 or 9, and that's probably maybe closer to where I was. I didn't count, but I know it wasn't 6 hours.
Yeah, so my experience with Dragon Quest maybe wasn't, like, what it's supposed to be, and hopefully when I play, because my plan is, we're going to play Dragon Quest 5, so, and I figured, well, I want to beat Dragon Quest 2, because I want to beat this game, because it's the 1 and 2 collection, technically. And it's like, well, at that point, why not play 3 and 4 before 5, right? So, with 4, I'm going to try and do more of that, and, like, try to look things up, never, hopefully, but, we'll see. Yeah, so, that's, and I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm taking an L there. I shouldn't play these games this way, but I did.
So, like, I guess I am also kind of guilty of not playing the game as intended, because, like, later on I did start asking you a bunch of stuff instead of figuring it out for myself. And, like, I'm glad I did ask for, like, you know, when I encountered that mistranslation of where it was literally telling me the wrong place to go.
Yeah, it was like east instead of west or vice versa, right?
Yeah, so it's just like, that would have just taken me forever. And my mindset with asking you what to do was because, like, I knew I would end up, like, playing for a lot longer if I didn't start asking, and I also wanted to like the game, like, I wanted to try to like it, so I didn't want to. I just
and I've been bugging you about the podcast for a while now, so it's like, you know, I understand the need to, and I think, like, part of the game is meant to be played, like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was an aspect to its popularity, is the social aspect, where it's like a bunch of kids in the same class, they're all playing Dragon Quest, and it's like, oh, how do I get this? Oh, there's this cool secret if you do this, right? So
I just remember
you asking me, or going,
was it something it was something I read or watched recently, where they were literally people were playing Dragon Quest and they were asking each other for, like, tips and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Was it Erased? Was it Sket Dance? I don't know. Fuck. It was something, but I know there.
I would maybe okay, yeah, because see, both of those are things that I haven't gone through in a while.
I don't think it was Sket
ever.
Dance. It was probably Erased.
Erased makes because they're kids, right? And it also takes place in, like, when they're younger, where there would have been less internet, right? So it makes sense to, in that setting, to that yeah, exactly right. So yeah, you asking me, like, you know, now think about it, that would be a cool experience, and maybe I'll try to do that. Is with someone eventually. Maybe we'll do. How about let's do that when we play Dragon Quest V. We'll try not to look anything up, and we'll exclusively, like, use each other, okay. Right? So like that.
I'll try not to take too long too, so that we're not, like, too far apart in places.
Yeah, and no, so like yeah, I just realized, because, like, if that's part of how the games are meant to be played, then maybe we should try to make that part of the experience. And, like, yeah, I'll call this a failure in that way, because, like, I just played it like I used to, and or like I still do with games a lot. Like, I don't explore the mechanics myself very much in general, because it's just, I don't like to be lost. You know, I like to just use my time and just get through it eventually. But because, you know, there's cool things, and I have fun with that. But it's like, you know, especially in the case of this adventure series, I should probably, you know, let myself explore a little more, get more lost, and get surprised by things. Yeah, but anyway, I guess I still like the game overall, like, because you know, in general, like, people are just kind of like, it's simple, it's boring, and I'm like, but it's pure. I like the simplicity. I like just being,
you're
like,
kind
of
talking like an old man here. This is kind of
I
what
know.
Old men
Look,
would appreciate.
I have never connected with Gintoki more than when he was talking about how you fucking children and all your good graphics and your cutscenes and you're so fucking spoiled. Back in the fucking day, you used your imagination because all you had was pixel art and you filled the rest in with imagination. And it's...
Even though you're the guy talking about how, oh my gosh, Precure looks so nice on the stream. And oh my gosh, everything looks so great. Why aren't you watching? Budget
meme. Anyway. But, like, yeah, it's just, you know, I can go through it, kill the monster, you know, now, especially now that I know where everything is, because there's some obtuse shit, like, now I know, like, okay, go around the border, right? Like, and they kind of do teach you that with the magic key location, which I feel like is where you kind of need to advance in the game. And then once you learn that, like, okay, what are some other places I could try and go around the border? Oh, look, I found the Sunstone.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you know, you're probably gonna miss some stuff, but
were you still talking?
I don't think you would just never figure it out.
Or did Discord cut out?
I think it's reasonable enough.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear me?
Part of it. Discord cut you out less than normal, but yeah, no, I think it's overall pretty reasonable. Like, there was some stuff that I definitely, like, oh, how the fuck was I supposed to know that? But, like, I don't know. Like, it's, you know, there's someone in the world who tells you where to go, like, except for that mistranslation, like you said. So it's like, yeah, and that's how I would recommend playing the games is, you know, like, yeah, just try and do it as much as you can on your own, because that way it'll be more satisfying when you win, I guess, right?
And the thing I like about that is, like, something I did mention this at some point, was how, it does kind of reflect how an actual adventure would be, to where you don't know where you're going, and there's not necessarily, like, the best sense of direction, so you do have to ask around for tips. And it's like, it almost makes this kind of, like, quest-like system. Like, it's not actually a quest system, but it's like, it feels like you're taking on little quests when you you take on, like, you hear a lead that could help you, so you have to go check it out to see if this is actually useful, or, my mission today is to explore this tunnel or whatever, and maybe it'll lead me to where I need to go, or maybe I'll get, like, an item or something. But
yeah, and it hears, you hear two pieces of information, and you put them together. It's like, oh shit, like, oh, the Mirror of Ra in the swamp to the south, it reveals your true form. And then you go to this castle, and then you talk to one of the spirits there, and they're like, I believe the princess, your third party member, was turned into a dog. And then you think back to when you were in this town, and you talk to this one dog, and it whimpers, and it starts following you like a party member, and it's like, oh fuck.
Okay, that sounds crazy.
That was the princess, right? And this was in like the first third of Dragon Quest II. I legitimately had a lot of fun with. It was like the second 2/3 that I was like, okay, is it gonna end anytime soon? Because like, going back to the exploration aspect, the boat opens up the world so much that it becomes almost overwhelming, I think, and like, there's just so much back and forth across the sea, and the fighting the same monsters over and over again, that it's like...
Is the movement in the boat slower? I mean, not slower. Is it like the same speed, or is it faster?
It is the same, and I think there maybe is like a slightly lower to counter rate, but it, there's another Pokemon connection, Gen 3.
I mean, people are dumb about Gen 3. You move through the sea fast, and they're just stupid, but
I know, but but the one problem that I still do have with it is you're fighting the exact same two Pokemon.
Fair enough.
And, like, Tentacool and fucking Wingull. Wow, great. Like, again and again and again and again.
There might be some Magikarp.
Yeah, true. And the trainers, of course, have their own variety, but it's like, it's all... Yeah, it's just a little much. But yeah, no, so, like, yeah, that's,
See, I feel like if I played Dragon Quest II, that would have, like, killed me, because it's like, I just played Final Fantasy VII not too long ago, and, like, when you get vehicles, like, there's ways to move across the sea and stuff, you move faster. I mean, I guess in that game I also did, like, have a speed up, and I did, like, use it on the overworld sometimes.
Oh, gotcha.
But, the vehicles still do move faster and cover more ground, so it's like...
And do they have less random encounters, or none at all?
They have none at all, actually. Well, it depends on what the vehicle is, but the one that goes over water, you don't have any encounters.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, like, and again, like, Dragon Quest came first. Like, it came out a decade before Final Fantasy VII. So, like,
yeah,
you have developers who, like, man, I fucking hate this. Let's not do this in our game, right? Which is kind of why I wanted to play Dragon Quest, or why we both wanted to, because it's like, I guarantee 90% of the developers on Pokemon, if not more, if not all of them, have played a Dragon Quest game, right? Like,
yeah.
So even if, like, there aren't a lot of, like, direct connections, I think it's, it's so unpopular, of course, right? But
I do wonder how, like...
What are some other things to say about Dragon Quest? Like, I do think it's funny that you were so over-leveled that, like, because we were talking...
Yeah.
Or go on.
No, you go ahead.
Because I was helping you find the magic armor, and I was like, oh yeah, there's this boss. And you're like, and then a little later, we're just in call, talking, and then a little later, I'm like, did you get the armor? And it's like, yeah, I got the armor, but I didn't find the boss. And I start laughing because I realized that you fought the Demon Knight, or the Axe Knight, or whatever he's called, and you, like, didn't even realize, because you were so overpowered because you'd been so lost and you'd grinded your level up, like, so high, that you did not recognize this boss monster as anything more than, like, a slight, weird, that was weird, a random encounter I had to attack twice to beat. Huh. Interesting. And then you just moved on and got the armor. And, like, that was funny.
I forgot to tell you, but I think I ended the game at level 31, I think.
31 or I beat it at 21. Are you sure it wasn't like 20 something?
30.
Or were you actually 31? Like, holy shit. Because, no, the level cap's at 30, so you would not have been 31.
Oh, okay. It was probably like 28, 29 or something like that.
Damn, the final boss was probably a joke, wasn't he?
I think that's just kind of like how I am with like RPGs in general. Like I'm usually kind of not like over leveled like all the time, but I am usually like never just on par. Like I'm probably over the level at least a little bit. And I don't know if that's like a bad way to play RPGs, because I know one time you were talking about how it feels satisfying to be at like the same level or under leveled in Pokemon and like beat the gyms that way. And I never thought of like playing that way because I'm just so used to the idea of you need to be like this certain amount above what everyone else is. So like that's just not how I think about how to play games. So like that was something I kind of wanted to try when we got to Pokemon.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, and I guess speaking of levels, another thing I do like, that like going back to Dragon Quest is interesting, because I feel like every individual level matters more compared to other games, probably because like what, the level cap in Pokemon is 100, the level cap in Dragon Quest 1 is 30. Mm-hmm. So like every one level in Dragon Quest is like, you could say, is as important as like 3 levels in Pokemon. Right, so like I would honestly go as far as to say like gaining a level in Dragon Quest is as important as getting a new sword, because that's like a similar stat increase, relatively speaking.
That's
so
fair
like
enough.
So so it's interesting going back and playing it, and like it almost feels more satisfying to level up that because I'm just like, yeah, like every hit point really does matter up to a point, right? Because especially when you're like struggling. And I really just appreciate that, where in Pokemon, like, yeah, the levels, like, you get new moves, like, it's almost, like, yeah, and obviously, like, in general, like, what you get from the levels is more important than the levels themselves, but, I just feel like that, like, in Pokemon, like, you get +2 attack, do you really notice that?
Yeah, it's like, so gradual that it's like, you need several levels before you see a huge difference.
And I think another thing is in Dragon Quest is you're directly told how much damage you do. Like, I'm pretty sure in Pokemon it says, yeah, that tackle did 16 damage. Like that, no, that it doesn't tell you. Like it shows you the HP bar. But even that in itself is a variable because all Pokemon have different HP based on their EVs or IVs and their base stats. True. Right? So in Dragon Quest, the enemies all have a set amount of HP based on what type of enemy they are, and they tell you exactly how much damage you do. So when you level up and your attack is now doing like visibly 1 or 2 points more damage, that's a little bit more satisfying, I guess, because you're directly seeing the result of this new level, which is also true if you equip a new weapon or you equip a piece of armor and you're taking less damage now, just because of how much information it's giving you relative to, again, in comparison to Pokemon as just the example. And of course, like Final Fantasy also does it too, just give you the numbers, but, we didn't play Final Fantasy, we played Dragon Quest.
It was something I wanted to... Oh yeah, I mean, I guess one thing that I was thinking about, like, with the importance of levels and stuff is, since I was so over-leveled, I feel like I really didn't need to find, like, the optional like armor, or not the optional armor. I think that was something you needed to get, but it was the things in the final castle, the extra the sword or whatever. I definitely didn't need that. Like I feel like I could have like taken care of the boss and stuff without that. So
right. But for me, who was like level 20, because I think I failed to beat the boss the first time at level 21, and then I tried it again and I succeeded, right? Because I was like just at that cusp of barely being able to beat him, where you were like the Mega Chad King god, and you like Dragon King, you slap him with his dick, and he turns into a dragon, you slap him with your dick again, and he's dead, right?
So
like,
I guess my game was the self-insert male power fantasy, while yours wasn't.
I was Subaru, you were Kirito. I don't know. But yeah, no, right, we had these completely different experiences, and yeah, they are emblematic of like how we played the game too, because you let yourself explore more and you buff the fuck up, right? And I didn't. There's a shonen lesson in there. You take the detours and enjoy yourself, and you become stronger, but you go for the shortcuts and the cheats, and you're weaker, and you have to grind because you suck.
I
So
do
there's
like that though. Like, I feel like that's like a legitimate thing.
No, yeah, because I mean, Hunter x Hunter's the series that stated that idea like outright, but I do read it into other stories, and I didn't think about it in regards to like Dragon Quest and how perfect it is, because I'm pretty sure Togashi fucking loves Dragon Quest.
Yeah, there's the whole Dragon Quest.
I think it's one of his favorite game franchises, and like, yeah, this is a series where going on detours literally just makes you stronger. I never thought about it. Here we were, and I thought this was a Pokemon podcast, but now I'm learning more about Shonen talking about Dragon Quest.
I mean, people hate the fact that Togashi wants to play some Dragon Quest, but now we revealed that, hey, maybe Dragon Quest influenced Hunter x Hunter in some way. At least, like, the exploration aspect and, like, there's monsters. I mean, there's, like,
or I guess, games in general, too, because he likes games in general, Creed Island.
To Dragon Quest, so, there is that.
I mean, the only other thing I could think of, unless you had more to say on that point, was, like, because there are some minor mechanics that don't really come back in later games, like the magic keys, which is just like that one. I guess it's like a block, right? Like, that's a very JRPG thing where they block off your progress in some ways. Pokemon is kind of infamous for doing it in a lot of silly ways.
Yeah.
But with the first Dragon Quest games, is you get the magic keys, and then like you only after you get them the first time can you buy them in other places. And it's like, you better. And you see, I never. Did you ever have a problem with it? Because I just stocked up every time I was in like the main castle.
I never had a problem with it. The only time I almost had a problem with it was like at the very end, where I was like, oh, I'm probably not gonna need more, so I didn't buy more. And then I went to the final castle, and I was like, fuck, because I almost ran out. I mean, I think I did run out. I had just enough to beat the whole thing without having to backtrack, but I was so afraid of having to exit the castle and like
because that would suck. Because
and stuff.
Not only that is the only because if you lose all your magic keys, the only way is to go back to the original town where you got the magic keys. And that's why it's like just kind of a like because they're like at least for how I played it, like it's basically like if you're negligent, you have to go back to the town, the original town where you bought them, instead of just being able to buy them at the main castle. Like in the later games, they just give, starting from Dragon Quest II, they just give you different kinds of keys. Like, so there's like a silver key, a gold key, and a jail key. And so you just keep it in your inventory, and as long as you have it in one of your party members' inventories, you can open up any of that kind of door, and it works the same way in Dragon Quest 3. So like that mechanic does not last. It was kind of interesting to see because it was so unique, I guess.
Yeah, and in like, the sense it like opens up places you've already explored even more, I guess.
Right. Well, even just like the way how the game works through this interface, right? Like there's literally a door option. Like you don't just hit A and talk to someone. You hit A, and in the menu you click the talk option so that you could talk to them, or you hit and then like the most common message box I'm pretty sure I've seen across Dragon Quest games is there's nobody to talk to in front of you, because I would actually just like hit A and just hit talk immediately when I wanted to do something else, and whoops, I'm just trying to talk to no one, because there's like open like there's a specific door option, so you don't have to go into your item bag and use the magic key every time. Like that was different, and I don't know what Dragon Quest game stops doing that, because it's up to 3 has that, and I haven't played 4 or 5 yet. So I don't know. It's just another interesting thing that I haven't seen in another JRPG yet. And yeah, we already talked about the torches. So as far as like mechanics, those are some that I think of that as being different from other stuff that I've played. But yeah, that's about all I had to say about Dragon Quest. I can't think of much more.
I mean, is there anything else about like 2 or 3 that you want to say, or?
3 is really good. I don't want to spoil it for you too, is the other thing. Because there's definitely things I could say about it, but like I'm just rather let you play it. And if you get stuck, feel free to ask me. But Dragon Quest 2, maybe. I mean, like. The one thing that I will say about Dragon Quest 2 is, like, because Dragon Quest 3 likes to reference the other 2 Dragon Quest games at times, and so, yeah, there's some maybe context that you'd miss out on, but it's not that big a deal at the end of the day. So, like, yeah, the story is there, but even in Dragon Quest 3, it's still, like, it's the exploration and gameplay that you're there for the most part. And, yeah, for Dragon Quest 1, I do like the exploration and gameplay. I like the purity, I like the simplicity. It's just a nice, fun little time. And I'll probably replay it again. honestly, one day. Not for a good while, because I have like how many, like 7 other Dragon Quest games to play and an MMO that I can't really play. But yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Should we rate the games that we play here or no?
I don't. This isn't really a backlog thing where it's about rating. Like, I mean, my rating's on my backlogged. So you could just look at my back. Maybe I'll link with that, and you can go see what I rated all the Dragon Quest games. Well, I guess you know what, I will rate it because it's in a collection of 1 and 2 together. And I mean, I gave like Dragon Quest 1 a strong 6, and I gave Dragon Quest 2 a light 6. So like, and I gave Dragon Quest 3 like an. Yeah, so,
well, I guess I'd give it, like, a strong 5, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Because you hate me and boomers? No, I don't.
I mean, like, it's hard to judge it, too, because of that, like, a period of time where I got lost, and, like, at the end portion, I just wanted to finish the game. So, like, it's something to where if I played a little bit differently, it could have helped. So it's, like, a little hard to rate it, but,
yeah, like if you from the beginning talked to everyone and just wrote down what sounded important, right? Like
yeah,
that's,
I didn't even talk to everybody because like you don't have to talk to everybody in Pokemon, so I didn't do it here. Almost in like none of the games I played that you had to like talk to everyone. I did talk to some people, but like most of them I didn't. Yeah,
so I'm very curious about how we'll feel about Dragon Quest V, because, you'll have hopefully at least played a fair portion of 3 if you haven't finished it by the time we get to Dragon Quest V. But also, I like the idea of us playing it where, we don't look up anything outside of, or outside of the, what we see in the game, and we, give each other advice. And, oh, this is where I went, or maybe you can go here, right? Like that kind of thing. Especially once the game, because I'm sure the game's going to open up and give us a boat, and we're going to get lost, right?
Yeah, we'll probably, like, travel in different directions or ways and stuff. I mean, not, like, we're not going to plan that out, but it would probably...
No, I think that'll be really interesting as an experience, because I've never done something... Like, I kind of actually had... The closest I've done is with some of, like, FromSoft games, like with Sekiro. I have a real-life friend, and we both got the game, and they're both single-player games, but we played it, like, in the same room, both on monitors. And, so we were able to, like, when we discovered things, the other person was, like, right there. Mm-hmm. So this would be kind of like that, but just at a way slower rate because, it's a JRPG. But, yeah, I'm looking, I don't know, what are we doing next? Is it, I think you said Kamen Rider manga? Manga. Okay. Yeah, because, okay, gotcha. That sounds good. And it'll be easier to get to, because it's only like 4 volumes. And maybe it's like they're longer volumes, so it's more like 8 volumes, but it's like, and 8 volumes, like we read shonen, like 8 volumes? Psh, psh. Whatever.
Well, I am reading the more important Sket Dance, so,
I mean, what these aren't going to come out for another couple weeks. Actually, this one specifically for another couple of months, so it's, whatever, I'm not fussed. So next time, Kamen Rider the manga, which will be interesting. Cause, I mean, at least it's not 78 episodes of, a mediocre tokusatsu show. Not to say that, like, cause, and specifically talk about the original 1971, cause, I've liked the Kamen Rider series I finished, but they aren't 71, and I've only seen some of V3, which is apparently the better version of the 71, and I still didn't care for it. But the manga it's just a few volumes. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. So, yep. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time, I guess.